What happened in America on the 11th of September 2001 changed the course of history.
On my orders, the United States military has begun strikes against al-Qaeda terrorist training camps and military installations of the Taliban regime in Afghanistan.
Britain stood shoulder to shoulder with its great ally against the new threat of international terrorism.
As you will know from the announcement by President Bush, military action against targets inside Afghanistan has begun. I can confirm that UK forces are engaged in this action.
In 2001, America, supported by Britain, invaded Afghanistan to root out those responsible. They toppled the Taliban government, who were protecting Osama bin Laden, and sought to rid the country of al-Qaeda. Bin Laden escaped to Pakistan, but by 2002, in less than a year in the country, America declared Afghanistan free of al-Qaeda. But the strategic goalposts moved, and President Bush called for the reconstruction of the country. By 2002, the Taliban was reorganizing, their leader Mullah Omar launching an insurgency. And so followed years of bloody war.
It was never going to be a military solution in Afghanistan. There was always going to have to be a political solution. So in many ways, the troops were let down by the politicians. They did what was asked of them. They created the environment in which the Afghans had an opportunity to build a better country. I still think that opportunity was there. So the troops did what was asked of them, and they should be proud of themselves and the sacrifices they made.
But political attention and military efforts were diverted to Iraq. And by 2006, British troops deployed to Helmand province found themselves exposed. It was considered Afghanistan's most dangerous region. By this point, the Taliban were using improvised explosive devices known as IEDs. Without enough air support, ballistic clothing and poorly armoured vehicles, British soldiers suffered catastrophic injury and loss of life. Snatch Land Rovers became known as mobile coffins.
I think a lot of effort, courage, lives, limbs were expended for an outcome that is in every way short of what we intended. It's very hard to judge any of our sacrifices today as worth it given that outcome.
No one suffered more than Afghan civilians. More than 47,000 have died in the conflict since 2001. And repatriation ceremonies to the UK raised awareness of the cost back home. The public all too regularly lining the streets of Royal Wootton Bassett to pay their respects. 457 British personnel died in total, and as the number of grieving families grew, support for the long war in Afghanistan began to wane. British service personnel also came home with life-changing injuries, amputees in their hundreds. But it wasn't just the physical cost. 17% of those in combat suffered symptoms of post-traumatic stress. At its peak, 150,000 NATO troops were in Afghanistan. But when fighting ended in 2014, just 13,000 remained, supporting Afghan national security forces go it on their own. And as that support withdrew, after 20 years of war, lost lives and lost limbs, the Taliban took the country back in just 10 days. Sally Lockwood, Sky News, Doha.